We're going to sing.
I guess we're going to sing. If you would like to stand up, you're welcome to. If not, that's fine. And we're going to start with the light in this world.
Beautiful. We are shining bright now. Thank you so much. And good morning, everybody. Good morning. And welcome to the joint service of CSL and Unity of Las Cruces. I'm Reverend Tanya Dawson, and I'm so glad to be here and see all your faces. I want to remind you that we'll have some announcements later on. And for the Zoomers, we're going to have them scrolling at the end of the service. So hang in there after the service, don't run away, and you'll get to see those. If you miss them for whatever reason, you could go right on to the websites for both unityoflascruces.org and CSL in the heart of Las Cruces. So find them. And I'd like to invite our wonderful meditator and CSL practitioner, the lovely Judy Hunt, to come on up.
Thank you, Reverend Tanya. How's that for sound? Yep, a little more? Yep. Oh boy, I'll belly up. Better? Okay. This thing, you got to be real close. Good morning. How wonderful to see you all. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. We are a community that believes in prayer. We are a prayerful group. And on the back of each chair in front of you, you will find prayer requests, where if you've brought anything that you'd like some help with, we will assist you. We meet every week. It's ministers, practitioners from 4 New Thought communities. Very rich group, very wonderful prayer time. So you can count on us to pray with you for anything that is heavy on your heart right now. Also, after church, there's an opportunity to speak with anyone in this stole, and it looks like I'm the one here today in this stole. So come on up and we can have a quick prayer after service. So now it is time. Oh, when you fill that out, you can put it in the God can or in the money can, whichever. I'll pick it up and we'll take care of it. So now it's time for song, silence, and prayer. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. I feel the peace and joy and grace of Spirit in us, through us, and around us, blessing our every breath and every flow of blood, every bit of circulation. We are made of Spirit, we speak Spirit, we are Spirit, and everything around us is Spirit. This is the truth of our nature. And we take our personalized form of Spirit into the world as love and peace and grace. And we know that it is all good all the time, that we are loved and blessed and guided, and that in turn we love and bless. It is all good, and so it is. And for our reading today, we welcome Dave Avery, who will read us from the Daily Word. The Daily Word was a constant thing in my family. My grandma loved it.
Good morning, CSL and Unity friends. Our daily word for this Sunday, May 29th, 2022, is comfort. We always have an affirmation that goes with that word, and this affirmation today is right there. The love in my heart is my comfort. If the sadness of loss diminishes my soul, my joy, as I think of happy experiences with the loved ones who are no longer with me, I remember that the love we shared will bind us together always. Love can never die. Love, the most beautiful attribute of God, is present always and everywhere. I am comforted as my heart opens to the divine love within me, knowing that this same love enfolds all of those I hold dear, no matter where they are on the eternal journey of life. Peace and strength grow in my awareness as I open myself to love's expression. I bless everyone who comes to mind today with a loving thought. I speak a loving word or perform a simple act of kindness whenever I can. As I bring comfort to others, I am comforted also. And from Scripture, Psalm 119, verse 76. Let your steadfast love become my comfort according to your promise to your servant. And so it is. Amen.
I'm going to sing you a song this morning. It's called Called to Be. It's by Faith Rivera. It speaks of all the ways that all the roles we play, all the ways that we show up in the world. And so I invite you, if you'd like, to just close your eyes and let Spirit speak to you as I sing, and just affirm in you how much good you're doing in the world, and perhaps draw you a little deeper, a little closer in some area. Called to be.
Living out the truth you seek, you are called to be shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God. You are in me. We're called to be. We are called to be the kindness, set the broken hearted free. We are called to be forgiveness, where pain has run too deep. We are called to be compassion, be the wind beneath each wing. We are called to make communion, only then can we succeed. We are called to be a prayer, living out the truth we seek. We are called to be everything. We are called to be the glory here on earth and all I'd see, all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. We are the living, breathing God. You are in me. We're called to be, called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love, called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be free, called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love, called to be.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. Beautiful. So now it's my privilege. My privilege to introduce our speaker for today, Karen Starz. I love Karen's title. Karen is a treasurer, an MA, certified nonviolent communications, certified trainer, and a main grounding officer. I love that. She's also a believer and a cat whisperer, a risk taker, and a visionary. So Karen Starz, a CNBC certified trainer, is a leader who models both success and failure with courage and integrity. Her passion is the exploration, discovery, and integration of processes which help humans live as they were meant to be, in peace. She loves working with communities to find points of disconnection and bring them into connection through communication, spirituality, and continued learning opportunities. Karen coaches individuals and couples on a committed basis with her packages. She also teaches classes, does speaking engagements, works with groups and companies and nonprofits, building more effective systems and performing facilitated conversations and mediations. Her favorite quality of being is congruence. She also has a new nonprofit here in New Mexico, and that is a network for NVC. Karen has been a student of New Thought since 2000 and a Unity member since 2003. So please welcome Karen Starz, my friend, my inspiration. We're in for a treat. Thank you.
Probably move this down a little. How's that volume for you? Closer. Okay. And that's good. All right. More. Okay. How about if I emote more? And can you hear me there? Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me back to Las Cruces. Thank her for the beautiful song. I didn't realize that I was going to be as emotional as I was. So I was responding to something I consider really beautiful. Thank you, Reverends Bonnie and Helen and the other Reverends here, not only for believing in this work and me, but just holding this space and this container for all of us continually through whatever happens in and out. So the name of my talk is Spirit-Driven, Human-Fueled, What a Beautiful Mess. And beautiful is in parentheses because sometimes it doesn't seem that way. Sometimes it seems that it's just a mess. But on the one hand, it's simple, this life for me. I realize and I know that we are divine energy. This is what we are at our core. Then you add the human, and that's when it becomes messy or complex. Humans have thoughts, we have actions, agency, choice, and we have emotions. We act on them, we don't act on them. We have relationships and on and on. So it can get really challenging. Grabbing my note cards here. Believe in fun and color and boldness, so I kind of went with a little bit of brightness today. So one of the things that we're challenged with is that we have input from millions of different and billions of different imaginations in the world. And it is a struggle to discern the truth. You know, when we walk outside, we are hit with all of this input. And it's like a washing machine. And every cycle takes us further from the truth, it seems. So how do we discern? Well, we come here to get fueled up, or we go places where there's prayer, nature, connection, whatever that is for us, song, beautiful song. And then we forget again. We're often taught to look for our needs to get met in places where it's impossible to get them met. It reminds me of a story, and you may have heard this one, of the man crawling around on all fours under a street lamp looking for something. An officer walked up and said, you know, what are you looking for something? And he said, yeah, I dropped my keys. He said, oh, did you drop them there? And he said, no, I dropped them in the alley, but the light is better here. So this is what we do. We look to get our needs met in places or with people who aren't available to meet our needs. And some of those strategies might be, you know, watching the news even. We want to get information. A lot of times maybe what we're getting is something different than information there, or laced with something different. I want to judge the news. I'm just using that as an example. It reminds me of another story. A friend of mine I was talking to, who is a member of AA, she was early in her recovery. She was telling me this story. And she said, you know, I was still doing things that could be considered crazy or, you know, not making sense. And one of the things that she did was on a camping trip, she had a craving for this certain kind of chocolate. So she drove 2 hours away to a store to get it, to go back to the campground. And she called her sponsor and said, you know, I'm going to do this thing. And the sponsor was like, you know, that's a little obsessive. And her response was, well, I'm an alcoholic, so I'm obsessive, right? And the sponsor said, yes, but you don't have to lean into it just because you are one. And just because we're human, we don't have to lean into all of our emotional responses. Emotions were given to us as a way to reconnect to the divine, as a way to follow and to see what are we needing, what are we not needing. So if we use them in this way, they actually become a magical tool rather than a nuisance or something that we resist.
So Marshall Rosenberg is the creator of nonviolent communication. He's also a psychologist, and he studied at a great extent the nature and the cause of our feelings. Part of his studying was with Carl Rogers, and then another 20 years in clinical psychology before he created nonviolent communication. And in nonviolent communication, he says there's nothing new here. It's been around for centuries. In fact, all these tools are in New Thought. It's just a different way of packaging it. So since I am a trainer in this process, I'm going to speak a little bit about where Marshall says feelings come from, in fact, where they are caused. So differentiated from stimulus. The world is our stimulus. I will be a stimulus for you. Helen and Bonnie will be a stimulus for me. The people out there will be a stimulus. That's different than the cause. The actual cause of our feelings, Marshall says, come from three places. One, the needs in that moment, met or unmet. And Reverend Bonnie has been talking about needs at CSL for the past couple of weeks. Needs are, as opposed to strategies, they are universal. Every human being has the same needs, whether it's the need for love, the need for food, the need for joy and play. We all have the same needs, and we have different ways to get there. We have different strategies, and that's actually where conflict occurs. We're not going to talk about that right now. I'll just say that needs met or unmet is one of the causes of our feelings. Another cause is our expectations in that moment. What are we expecting in any given moment? And then the third is, and this is the part that I really get kind of juiced up about, is we have choice on how to respond in any given moment to a stimulus. And so these choices that Marshall lays out is we can blame others when we hear a message. We can blame ourselves. We can self-connect through empathy. So hearing within what we're feeling, what we're needing, or we can empathize with the other, asking what are they feeling, what could they be needing. So let's take an example, because I learned really well through examples myself. Let's say I get up in the morning, this is not true, but let's say I got up this morning and I went to my bathroom to get some water, brush my teeth, go to the bathroom, take a shower, and nothing comes out of the fountain. So I have some feelings here. And I also have some expectations. My expectation is for water to come out of the fountain. I live in a place where I pay for water, and so I just have this expectation. My need is cleanliness, ease, predictability. Those are probably my needs at that moment. And I have a choice. I can get really angry and blame the water company. This small town, they don't know what they're doing. You know, of course the water's going to be off on the day I need to go talk. I can blame myself. Should have known, should have taken that shower last night. This is just my luck. This is me. It's all about me. I should have, I have to, my fault. I could connect with, what's going on with me. And maybe I'm disappointed and surprised. And I'm really needing to understand. I'm really needing some ease. I can give myself empathy in that moment. Or I can connect to the people who might be running the water company, and go, wow, it's Sunday. I bet they're going to have a really hard time getting people to come in here and fix the water for everybody. I imagine they're overwhelmed and maybe stressed out right now. So 4 different feelings come from the same stimulus, and I can choose. Now, you might move in between one or the other and land on something, but you are at choice about how you're going to feel about the situation. And I will say something about the chooser, because, in theory, this sounds really simple. The chooser, this chooser standing before you, has had years of training and disconnection. I've had belief systems that were given to me that I chose to change at some point, whether it was from hitting what we call a bottom or just in life changing, maturing. But it's work. It's not just simple, I'm going to choose today. So it's knowing yourself. And I think that that is the work that we do here. And learning through practice. I handed, or Helen and Reverend Bonnie handed out these cards for me, these feelings and needs cards. And then we also have a slide that is going to be put up with feelings and needs cards for those who are at home. I want to do a practice right now where you look at the feeling side. If you have this card, it'll be the white side. And you choose 2 feelings that you're having right now. And then you flip it over to the other side, connecting it to whatever needs are met or unmet. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do this and then talk to someone next to you and tell your story, why you're feeling what you do. Okay. I'm going to repeat the instructions again, just in case you didn't hear the first time. There's a feeling side of the card and there's a needs side of the card. And there's also feelings and needs up here. I'd like for you to choose a couple feelings that you are feeling at this moment. And then connect them to what needs may be met or unmet for you at this moment. And then just share them with whoever you're sitting by. And if you're not sitting by anyone, you might turn around and find someone who is sitting alone and discuss for just 5 minutes. So when you're ready, maybe just complete your sentence, thank your partner. So what I just invited you to do was first to self-connect, and then to honestly express, and then hopefully in the listening, you were holding empathy for each other. So you just did compassionate communication. I guess we can all go home now. This is a practice, a daily practice. And for me, it may even be minute to minute practice of connecting with, oh, this is my feeling that this instrument has given me. Let me follow it to what's going on for me. So I'll share with you another, where I fail. It says on my bio, that I embrace and lead the way in both success and failure. So this week, I was reminded of one of these things you might call failure. And by the way, I don't find that a negative word at all. To me, it's a playful word. So one thing about me that I know to be true is that I know that God is my source. And you can choose to call it God or divine energy, spirit, creator, but God is my source. And one way that this really came home to me in my adult life was when I had lost my home to Hurricane Harvey back in 2018. And for a year, I fought FEMA to get that money for my home. And so for a year, I'm on the phone, I'm putting energy into this. It's a long story, but needless to say, in the end, I realized, oh, FEMA's not my source. God's my source. So I was able to walk away from that and co-create a different life. Well, this week it happens again. I had written a grant for this work in school systems. So NBC in middle schools, specifically where it applies to social media. Very excited about it. Large grant, it was received. I just needed to find a school. And I found one locally. I've been communicating with this school, and in the last 2 weeks, the communication, my emails hadn't been responded to. So I started to feel worried, angry, blaming, really caught up in this cycle of this one strategy to get my grant implemented. And I was talking to a friend a couple of days ago who is somewhat of a mentor and a friend, and I told him about my talk, and I said, I haven't written it yet. I'm just so tied up about this school. And he said to me, well, it seems like you're in the middle of the talk right now, so why don't you talk about that? And this, my friends, is how I'm reminded that I am at choice about how to receive the message of silence from the school. That's a message. So I can blame them and I can say, they don't care. They don't care about this work and on and on. I can blame myself and say, you never get anything big done. It's all about the choices you make, blah, blah, blah. I can connect with myself and say, I really care about this work. And I'm disappointed, but I also trust that there will be another path. And I can connect with the school. And I can say, wow, they're probably really overwhelmed right now. Their graduation, they're doing scheduling for next year. In fact, some teachers are scared to come back next year. So the scheduling probably got harder. And I can have empathy for them. So I went through a variety of these feelings and I walked away open-hearted and ready to receive, remembering where my fuel comes from. I want to read to you a couple of paragraphs from Marshall Rosenberg before we go into meditation. So I hope you can bear with me. And I thought of shortening this, but I find it really rich. So Marshall wrote, most of us grew up speaking a language that encourages us to label, compare, demand, and pronounce judgments rather than to be aware of what we are feeling and needing. I believe life alienating communication is rooted in views of human nature that have exerted their influence for several centuries. These views stress humans' innate evil and deficiency, and a need for education to control our inherently undesirable nature. Such education often leaves us questioning whether there is something wrong with whatever feelings and needs we may be experiencing. We learn early to cut ourselves off from what's going on within ourselves. Life alienating communication both stems from and supports hierarchical and domination societies, where large populations are controlled by a small number of individuals to those individuals' own benefit. It would be in the interest of kings, czars, nobles, and I'm going to add leaders, and so forth, that the masses be educated in a way that renders them slave-like in mentality. The language of wrongness, should, and have to is perfectly suited for this purpose. The more people are trained to think in terms of moralistic judgments that imply wrongness and badness, the more they are being trained to look outside themselves, to outside authorities, for the definition of what constitutes right, wrong, good, and bad. When we are in contact with our feelings and needs, we humans no longer make good slaves and underlings. So we see this in our world playing out right now. I don't need to name where it is. And we can make a change. We hear a new thought, know if we go inward, we can make a change. So as we move into this time of meditation, I want you to ask yourself, how do you choose to feel today? What world do you want to live in? And what would have you dancing out the door? So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And as we go inward to our source, to the very nature of our being, we let the thoughts roll off of us like raindrops off of a rain jacket, puddling at our feet, and we feel lighter and lighter and lighter. Breathing into this experience of love, unconditional, divine love. And remember what it was like to be a child, to have the eyes of wonder, to experience the world moment by moment. Whatever feelings your body's having, whatever feelings come into your heart and flow through you, embrace them as the gift that they are. And each one is a flower given on to you. Say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In this space, bring into our hearts all of those losses that we've had, all of the people that have given their lives through conflict, aiming to bring peace. Remember the courage and the souls that have gone before us. I invite you to take 3 more breaths at your own pace, and then open our eyes. Thank you.
I hope that felt as good to you as it did to me. Thank you so much, Karen. It's been wonderful to have you back here. Let's just thank her again. Thank you so much. So one of the needs you might find on your blue card is to contribute or to have contribution. And since the experience that we have all witnessed at Uvalde, where we've seen children once again impacted by what's going on in this world, the need to contribute has taken place in many of our lives. And the Sonoma Elementary School here in town has that need to contribute. And so I want to share with you that they are collecting aluminum cans. They have bins in front of the elementary school. They are at 4201 North Rise Drive. You can take your cans there. They will turn that into money and send it to the community in Uvalde. So if you would like to contribute in that way, I'm inviting you to do that. That's just one thing that we can do that gives us that sense of contribution. The other thing that we do, both as a Unity community and the Centers for Spiritual Living, is we tithe 10% of all that comes into our centers back out into our communities. And so the Unity's tithe recipient will be on the slide, and the Center for Spiritual Living is tithing to the Aggie cupboard. And for those of you who don't know, the Aggie cupboard provides food security to the students, faculty, and staff at NMSU campus. And that is, they're tithing to Silent Unity. Silent Unity is a space that holds prayer on a constant basis. So all the prayer requests that come through Unity get sent on to Silent Unity for continued prayer there as well. So not only is our community praying with everyone who puts in a prayer request, but Silent Unity is doing so as well. That being said, your tithes and offerings to the centers can go on your way out the door. We're not passing things hand by hand yet at the center. The gold trays are for the center. The blue bag says Unity on it is for Unity. So make your tithes and offerings in accordance with that. And I will just say thank you in advance. And so if you will then also say with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you, God, in me. And now we will sing, I Am So Blessed.
We are so blessed. And as we know that all of our loving contributions, our tithes are there at the back of the room, that's all of us. Just hold that blessing, connecting with our heart energy, blessing all of the tithes to the Aggie cupboard, to silent unity, and seeing that blessing from our heart go out into the world, doing good works, increasing and adding to the light of the world. And we know about the law of circulation that comes right around in through and others and goes out again, blessing our communities together, blessing our lives and blessing the people of the earth. And so it is. Thank you. So now I believe we have the prayer for protection. So we invite everyone to say together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So just a quick reminder for anyone on Zoom, there will be announcements at the end of the service. And now it's time for us to sing the peace song. You're welcome to stand if you're able and form a bigger circle as we are able.